Have you ever had a moment in your life where something someone else said completely changed the direction of the rest of your life? Have you ever had a moment in your business where your back was up against the wall in a major way and you needed to hear the exact insight or advice that someone else with much more experience could ever give at the right time? Well, I was in that place at the age of 24. Quick story, backstory, and I came home after being getting my nursing degree. First person out of a family of 13 to get a degree in nursing. Came home, told my parents, I'm not going into nursing. I'm going to be an entrepreneur, which for any of us entrepreneurs out there or people trying to side hustle and do your thing, it's a lot harder than anyone could ever tell you, or you could read in books. You can hear all the stories, but the fact of the matter is once you go out on your own and what you do that day determines whether or not you get paid or not. It's a completely different ball game. And so I was bartending, coaching volleyball. I was doing whatever it took just to get by. And I was listening to an audio tape, and that was one of the big things that I was blessed to actually discover in college, is that I could actually learn from other people. And if I could learn what they know, maybe I could replicate what they were doing. And this guy said from stage, he said, your ability to increase your income is directly related to your ability to write sales copy. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think it is nowadays, but when I heard that and I was 24, 25 years old, and you told me that I could go write sales copy and I can learn how to sell things in print and my income was directly related to that, I was all in. Okay. So every morning I would grab a pen, I would grab my notebook, and I would grab a sales letter or something of a legendary person who was already an expert. That's the key point to understand. There was somebody that was already an expert that had a proven sales message, and that I would go handwrite every morning a new sales letter every single day of what their language patterns were. Now, the reason you do that, a little bit longer conversation, but the key is that if their neurology can spit this thing out and I could implant it on my neurology, well, then I could start practicing and articulating how to use those words. And if I can fire off those words, well, maybe I could replicate and have sales. Now, quick little side story on that was at the time I was a motivational speaker. I was speaking, I was learning mental toughness, I was learning NLP, and I was also coaching all at the same time. So I would go and speak, but I wasn't really making any money because, you know, you get one gig, maybe 250 bucks, 500 bucks. It seemed like a lot of money at the time. But the fact of the matter is I might go 2 to 3 weeks without even getting a gig. And I was working so hard to do it. And so what broke my brain was this concept of being able to create something and then send people to this letter and actually make money. And this is right when the internet was just starting to pop off. So that's what made it really, really powerful and cool, because I found like I felt that I was like on the cutting edge of discovering something that nobody else had, but I had it. Now, I still feel the same way. And this is 20 years later, right? So I'll give you the backstory on that. But nowadays, I believe that it's your ability, the same kind of secret sauce that he taught me when I heard that. My belief now is that your ability to create an offer for your business or turn your expertise into a message that you could then communicate an offer that has people just tripping over themselves wanting to buy is a skill set that not only is going to pay you in the short term, but it's something that's going to pay you for the long term. In fact, I was going to use Travis Sagos, one of my mentors. Coming out of the book, he just came out of the book. You can pre-order it now at on Kindle. Called, I think he says, make them beg to buy your offer or buy your thing. And he's one of the best in the business. But what I was telling Nola, my wife, you know, and this is my crew behind me here, if you never met me before, is that the future is going to belong to the people who have the ability to communicate and articulate in such a way, because never has it been easier. That doesn't mean it's easy. I'm just saying it's never has it been easier for you to reach more people with a message that can move people. Now, I'm going to give you a backstory, and then I'm going to tell you about something pretty cool we have coming up. You can look in the comments too. We have our first ever one offer away challenge that's coming up first week in June. You can see the link in the comments, and all my friends and family, you guys can jump in at 50% off. There's a coupon code there. But the thing is that I call it the one offer away challenge because when I was 24 and I was trying to figure things out, I went in, I just started taking the advice I was giving athletes and speaking on my talks, and I turned those into my product. Okay. So we took expertise. What do? We turned it into intellectual property, and then which becomes an asset. And then we wrote a sales letter that when people went to that website, a certain percentage of them would end up buying. Okay. Now today, what's super cool about it is if you're really good on camera, or you like to talk, or you're not afraid to talk, you can learn how to actually do what I'm doing right now and very, very rapidly syndicate this across all the social media platforms very, very fast and get your message out there. Okay. The other thing that's super, super cool is that you could use video on a landing page, or if you go to my my website, offerwingman.com/challenge, you'll see our sales letter that was written. All right. And there's a little bit of a video, and a certain percentage of people who go to that will move forward as a client or customer. Okay. And so what's so cool about this, the better you get at making these offers, the faster you can grow a business. Okay. Now, what I ended up doing is I ended up looking at my business model, and I realized that selling to volleyball coaches, no offense, volleyball coaches, I'm still one of them, was not going to afford me the ability to earn the amount of money that I wanted to make. Okay. It's not a bad thing to say you want to make a lot of money. You can impact a lot more people. And if you're looking to impact people with your genius or expertise and you struggle at communicating it, then I definitely say we need to be, you should subscribe and stay tuned, because that's exactly the type of people I love working with, right? So I decided to, I had that realization. I was like, look, if I do the math, I'll never get to the amount of money I want to make. And so I decided to start exploring going into another niche. And give you the 10-second version, I ended up going into a market, into the dental market, dental profession. And I ended up licensing someone else's intellectual property so that I could borrow what they had already been doing successfully in another market. They were in the chiropractic market, they were in the real estate market. And I was able to, for a small amount down, a couple grand, and then royalties, I was able to take that intellectual property and I was able to repurpose it and sell it in the dental profession. Okay. It's a very smart move. It's a great way to time collapse, which is the whole point of my book is, how do we compress timeframes? Now there was a lot left out though. And I had to learn a lot myself. I had to figure things out, but I went in, I didn't know much about it. I was 26 years old and dove in head first and quickly, worked away and figured it out, got some testimonials, learned a lot of stuff, grew a coaching club, big coaching club, people paying a lot of money to be in the same room as other people. And what is that, folks? That's another offer. Okay. A mastermind's another offer. Most guys sell masterminds wrong. And that's why their masterminds struggle, because they're focused on the wrong aspect of the offer. Same thing as with coaching clubs. When we'll talk about what ingredients have to be in an offer. But that business grew very, very rapidly. And what's cool about that is that, only nowadays in the past 20 years can someone with zero experience jump into a market like that and quickly develop the intellectual property to then sell it. Okay. Now, that all comes across from selling offers. Now, I'll give you a couple quick tips on this, because the idea here was this. What we found was there was a certain sub niche within a market. Now, first step, I always tell clients, anyone who wants to know how to sell more of their stuff, is I always say to them, well, look at who's you've already impacted, either one-on-one, or maybe you're already selling stuff right now. Who have you already sold to or helped for free that you had an immediate impact, and they were fun to work with, they were easy to help? And one other criteria that you'll learn if you jump in the challenge, or one thing I teach, is they're happy to pay you. Okay. There's nothing worse to sell stuff to people who need something terribly, but they're not happy about it. They're not happy to pay you. They're not easy to help. And they didn't come seeking you out. And so that's like the worst criteria. So we flip that on its head and we're like, look, we only want to pre-educate, pre-qualify, and move pre-interested, pre-motivated people into our circles so that when we make an offer and then when we communicate a message, those are the people that are most likely to buy. Now, a couple quick tips. My wife's going to be here with the kids. Dogs are going to go crazy. I got to wrap this up. But there's a couple different formulas that I like looking at. I'll give you one of them. I taught this to a group last week, right? It's called symptom plus inadequacy, add the transformational insight, relieve shame and guilt, make your offer. Okay, so we're going to identify a symptom of our ideal dream client. Okay, so when you look at your offer, you look at what you're selling, anything you're selling, trust me, it doesn't matter if they're super successful people, very wealthy people, or they're struggling right now. They have symptoms, right? Symptom for somebody who's super busy, their business is blowing up, successful. Their symptom is they're always running late to their son's softball or their son's soccer game. Tired of showing up late to your game, being knocked sideways, around with your schedule because of the chaos and the complexity of your business growing. This is just horrible, by the way. I just totally blew this up. This was very, very bad. Thanks, Freeland. I see you're saying stuff. Xenia, appreciate you guys. Yeah, if you guys like leaving comments, I'm getting used to this StreamYard thing. So likes, comments, I'll take it all. Help boost my confidence that this is actually creating value for anybody out there. But a lot of people tend to think that they don't really have inadequacies. Well, the fact of the matter is everybody has inadequacies about something. And so it might be something around their identity. It might be around something of a pain that they have of not failing, and they're never communicating that. So I'm always looking for what is the secret inadequacy or pain that is motivating them or driving them that they're not communicating out loud. Okay. Now you're able to tap into this when you really get into a market. And I always recommend you start selling stuff to them. You got to find out your market, and then your testimonials will come back, and you get on a couple phone calls, or you do a couple webinars, or you do a couple challenges like we do and we recommend, or you do a master class where you push all these people, you build up all this pent up demand, you put them in one training, and you're able to see the questions, and you're able to learn, and you're able to get better at that. That is the best way to sell. And I don't care if you're selling dental implants. I don't care if you're selling coaching. I don't care if you're selling an info product. The biggest thing is you got to identify that pain, and then you got to flip it to the number one quickest payoff that they're going to get by working with you. And that's the transition. That's transformational insight. Couple more components in that make it easier to understand. But then you flip it to the payoff. Now, the payoff is a writer downer, everybody, if you're trying to sell stuff to people. The payoff is not all the features and things that you're going to give them. You're going to go into a 12-week course, and then we're going to spend X amount of hours together, and you're going to get all these binders. That stuff worked 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. Nowadays, people want to shorten their learning curve. And here's my family. So we're on a 30-second countdown. They want to shorten the learning curve. And so your ability to relieve all of those things so they don't have to spend the 24 hours on calls with you one-on-one. They don't have to go through 12 weeks. In fact, we're going to compress it into a 2-day timeline or a 1 hour a day across 3 days or 5 days. People love those things because they could buy into the total immersion, short amount of time. Same thing as if you're selling dental implants or any kind of cosmetic procedures. This is how you sell. You move all of your prospects into a one Zoom a month or one class a month where you ask the doctor anything and you push them all in there. And the reason is because a lot of people don't book appointments because they don't want to be sold. And so what you get to do is increase your know, like, trust factor by creating simple little videos with messages that convert without having to be salesy, without having to be like a robot. Boop, 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 boop. This is what you say. No, you could be yourself because your vibe is going to attract your tribe. And the people that you're attracting that are like you are the people that are going to love buying from you. And those are the same people who are going to love referring to you. And those are the people that you're going to be happiest to grow with and grow your business with. So that's Ed O'Keefe. Hey, in the comments, you go to offerwingman.com/challenge. I believe our code is off, one offer away 50% off right now. It's in June. Yeah, Freeland, most people do focus on things like a robot. Don't even totally relax. Focus on the payoff. We didn't even talk about objections. I missed out on like 5 things I'm going to cover, but stay tuned like this. We're going to be shooting videos for the next 21 days or so, just really giving away amazing ways. How do you overcome money? How do you overcome other blockages that people have that's preventing them from buying your stuff? And then also, most of you guys are not focusing on the payoff that they're getting sooner, easier, quicker, and helping them get a result really, really quick. That transforms their ability to buy from you faster. So that's it. I got to bounce, Freeland. Check us out at offerwingman.com/challenge. And I hope to see you guys there. Otherwise, I'm going to be back on this live tomorrow. Appreciate you. And have an amazing day. All right. Bye-bye now, everybody.